All right, y'all. Now, due to what happened, for those who might have been at the live show on June 12th, you know that they decided to go ahead and ban my show for 90 days again. As I keep telling you, I am the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. If you haven't figured that out, you should by now know why, right? So, in goodwills, for those who did not get a chance to see it and didn't get the completion of the show, I'm going to now repeat and do the June 12th, 2019 show. Still, everything is going to be intact from the last show, always, and then I will have at the end while I come in and just say a few more things. Other than that, thank you for watching. This is, again, the most hated show on the black corner of the internet. I may not be in no live show on this, right, for 90 days, but that doesn't mean I'm still not going to keep dropping. So if your support is just to keep continue to watch, because again, what is it that I'm saying that they don't want you to hear? Now stay tuned as we get this going, and thank you for your participation. Remembering the black origins of Memorial Day. You know I'm going to say this again. The racist diplomatic incident that embarrassed JFK abroad. You know I'm going to say that again.
Josiah Henson's story is a remarkable tale of a man who escaped the brutal bonds of slavery. He built a settlement for fugitive slaves and a school where their children could receive a proper education. His memoirs were a key inspiration for Uncle Tom's Cabin, the best-selling novel of the 19th century, which Abraham Lincoln credited with starting the Civil War.
Live from the local station, News 4 Jax starts now.
Take a look at this. A local Burger King employee using a floor mop to clean a table in the children's area. And now the corporate office is responding. A local mom contacted News4Jax today saying she recorded that video and was disturbed by what she saw.
Yeah, the Burger King is on State Road 13 near Racetrack Road in northern St. Johns County. News4Jax consumer reporter Lauren Verno joining us there live. And Lauren, I understand that woman says that she saw that same employee mopping the floors just minutes prior to the video.
Images of hunters celebrating their trophies often draw widespread support and condemnation. Tess Talley knows this firsthand. We are hearing from her today for the first time since this photo of a giraffe she killed in South Africa in 2017 prompted worldwide outrage. That outrage has not stopped her from going on more trophy hunts. Adam Yamaguchi of our CBSN Originals unit followed Talley as she tracked a wildebeest on a wildlife ranch in Texas. Take a look.
Google CEO is defending YouTube's practices despite a series of recent scandals. In a new interview, Sundar Pichai admitted that the company isn't perfect, and he acknowledged that YouTube doesn't guarantee top quality service that users expect.
This comes as the company faces allegations of fostering hate, enabling pedophiles, and spreading misinformation.
War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. 1984 is a book about a rebellion that fails, and the rebel knows he's going to fail. It's the most.
It's not about beaches and barbecue. Memorial Day is not a day to celebrate, but rather observe.
Just to let everyone know, in New York, it's not all about the barbecue. It's about those, that beautiful flag and those soldiers who gave their all to, their lives.
Once a year.
Richard Carranza unloads.
There are forces in this city that want me to just be quiet. There are forces in this city that want me to be the good minority and just be quiet, don't say a word, don't bring the race issue up.
Well, some people are claiming police are racially profiling after the Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt released the annual vehicle stops report for 2018.
This report is raw data collected on all traffic stops made in the state for the year. Color 10's Madison Heber has a breakdown tonight of what the report has to reveal.
David, Heather, the report includes raw data from stops police made in 2018, and it's broken down by race. When you look at the total population, a higher percentage of black drivers were stopped compared to white drivers, meaning a large number of black drivers were stopped when you examine the low number of African Americans in the state as a whole.
Under a bill recently passed by Alabama lawmakers, a court would order chemical castration for someone convicted of a sex crime against a child under 13. According to the legislation, the Department of Public Health would give medication that reduces or blocks the production of testosterone or hormones.
I argued and debated this particular bill because I felt that it was far-reaching to the extreme.
The bill says the treatment would start at least a month before the sex offender is released from prison and continue until a court decides it's not necessary.
Welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. That's right. Welcome to a live show. This is Mr. Blows Your Mind, your host, the Whiteologist, bringing you Black Minds TV, which is Black Minds News. Welcome, and it should be a subscriber. What's good, fam? Glad to see you here for the live show. No, yesterday you probably was anticipating. I was trying to get in, but some things came up, so I didn't get a chance to do a show yesterday. So I'm here today to disseminate some of this information that I have found. Passerbys, welcome. This is Black Minds TV, which is Black Minds News. And what we do over here is we sift through all the stuff that's going on, put up a show. Hopefully you like it. If you don't, go down to the library, see something you might like. If you should happen to hit that dislike button, what you can do is get the supervisor to come out. Maybe we could talk to you, try to get you to return, maybe get you back on the next time and try to get you to like something. Well, welcome anyway, because we always got a grand opening, right? So let's go ahead and check it out, right? So, again, once again, it's on, always on, right? It is called the world that we live in, and every day that we get up, we have a new day to make a new change, or as they say, the same old suit just reheated, just because some people just can't break out of the monotonous of their bullshit. So, let me get my spiel out once again. This is Black Minds News. I'm your host, Mr. Blows Your Mind, and this channel to report, articulate, insinuate, uncode, derail, spread the news, whether by news, video, website, or quotes from publication. As I, your whiteologist, ask the creator of the universe, be here, heart, soul, mind, and spirit, because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people who created the greatest land, what they call the United States, we call that BADOS or ADOS. We give honor to our ancestors. You know what my motto is? I'm never going to tell you what I heard. I'm only going to tell you what I know. All right, y'all. Got another little show for you to put up today. So you know how it goes, y'all. Always trying some stuff. It's always something happening that's worthy of some kind of conversation. Anybody should want to call in, the number will always be up on the screen from this board. And if you should happen to call, hopefully you just try to time it at the right time. If you should do it, if not, whatever it is, it's up there for you. If you have some dislikes or something you want to comment on. Now, this particular story here I seen, again, I'm kind of figure out like, okay, on this show here, we kind of talk about a lot of things, life, news, race, you know what I'm saying? We do it all over here. We EEOC, everybody can get in every situation, can get talked about, right? No one's above reproach. So I seen this here, and again, it's just kind of one of them kind of funny things, right? You would think that somebody would have the awareness to understand if you're going to pull something like this, and I don't condone doing it because, again, when you see this, you got to see that it's going to put something in your mind. Let me show you, bro. Let me just go ahead, show you. I ain't going to talk about it. We're just going to show you about it because, again, it's just kind of crazy. It's one of those situations, right? So check this out, and we should be right back. Check this.
Live from the local station, News 4 Jax starts now.
Take a look at this. A local Burger King employee using a floor mop to clean a table in the children's area. And now the corporate office is responding. A local mom contacted News4Jax today saying she recorded that video and was disturbed by what she saw.
Yeah, the Burger King is on State Road 13 near Racetrack Road in northern St. Johns County. News4Jax consumer reporter Lauren Verno joining us there live. And Lauren, I understand that woman says that she saw that same employee mopping the floors just minutes prior to the video.
That's right. That woman telling me she came to this Burger King for dinner with her family and her kids. And while she was leaving, she saw this. There's no mistaking it. That Burger King employee is mopping a table in the kids area. What goes through your head?
I was just disgusted, honestly. I had just ate on that table. Like, did you do this yesterday? Do you do this every night? Did you do this morning?
Katie Zoran recorded this video at the St. Johns County restaurant and has questions for Burger King. She sent the video straight to corporate and received this response. Thank you again for bringing this matter to our attention, and rest assured that your comments have been forwarded to the appropriate management team.
There is going to be a review on every page because I feel like this is unacceptable.
We looked into this Burger King's inspection reports with the state. It shows 7 basic violations and 1 intermediate violation, including vents in the kitchen containing mold and the interior of the freezer soiled with food residue.
Unsanitary? It shouldn't have happened.
Then Burger King corporate sent me this response today. The action depicted in the video is unacceptable and not in line with our brand standards or operational procedures. We have strict protocols around cleanliness and food safety. The restaurant owner will be retraining his team on all operational protocols. And that is actually true. We saw about 15 minutes ago, and actually still going on behind me, the manager out there with the employees with a cloth, teaching them how to wipe down the tables. I saw no mops around. Lauren Verno, Channel 4, the local station.
And Lauren, right over your right shoulder, we can see somebody in the window using a mop or sweeping or something, cleaning up there right now. And glad to hear from Burger King, but I understand you also called the state's health department about this today. What did the department tell you?
So the department said this is not allowed either. Mops cannot be used to wipe down tables. It has to be one of those washcloths, and they have to be sanitized between each use. So definitely what happened here, a big no-no.
Lauren Verno, a consumer reporter, reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Lauren.
All right. So somebody got caught up working, trying to cut corners. You know it is. That's what it is sometimes, fellas. You know what I'm saying? You got your own crib, right? You a bachelor, right? You cut corners. You know the little honey coming over. He cut corners. Now, you don't do no shit. That's like say, taking the rag that you go into the toilet, wipe the toilet down and don't go wash the face in the tub at the same time. It's all the same. You know what I'm saying? Just the despicableness that a person, I mean, again, I would think that just for the simple fact of just natural training, right? And, you know, back in the days coming up, we had what they call chores, right? You know, in order for you to go outside, like on a Saturday, right, homies be at the door knocking on the door. Come on, man, Mr. Blow, you mind? You coming out, man? Let's go get some hooping. Let's go play some football. I'm like, man, I got to go take the garbage out. I ain't did the dishes. Got to clean my room. Give me about 30 minutes. You understand? Because that's the way you rear up. You reared in a certain way, the certain shit you go through. Now, I don't know about today. Now, I don't know if you ain't in my household. You're going to learn how to do certain shit. So here it is, you training people who come in, and it just go to show you that people don't train. They come in, you learn as you go. And I think about a lot of people who get these jobs. I know last few jobs that when I did work, right, it was like, well, check this out. They ain't even train a motherfucker. Just figure it out. Oh, you gonna figure it out. And you either gonna sink or swim. And that's the way they pretty much use you do that with that 90-day probation. Because other people don't want to really train you because they think that you might be replacing them. You might be better than them, right? So what they do is they throw your ass in the fire. Either you gonna sink or swim, burn, and see what kind of material you made of. Well, this cat here really failed. You know what I'm saying? He got caught up again, all seeing eye everywhere. There's something you should just be conscious of again, because some of them are just born in this era. Some of them are not even from here, so maybe you're not even used to that. But I mean, what would make you think that you could mop the damn tables? I mean, damn, I understand you maybe try, like I say, you try to cut time. But again, that is the most unsanitary thing. And then he did it to the kids. So, you know, if anybody should happen to know where this Burger King at, go on to the doctor there, get that doctor note, go and cut that check. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, go on, get the check. I'm sick. You know what I'm saying? It's out there now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just get caught up like that. You know what I'm saying? And then she said she ate this. So she already done set the proceedings that she gonna come back with that lawsuit. Now, the other thing that opens up too was the simple fact that you heard they talked about, well, this store already had some other violations, right? Had 7 basic ones and 1 immediate. So you know that's what ended up happening. This is going to open up things that, again, that's been hidden. So now all of a sudden, you know, they didn't say anything about him being fired. What they had to say, again, I'm just doing my job. Motherfucker trained me to do it this way. You get what I'm saying? So you can't hold him accountable. Because, again, this can't be if it was the first time, even if it was the first time, to get caught up with to say again, like old girl was saying, how long you been doing it? How many times you been doing it? And what else y'all be doing back there? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, motherfucker washing the bathroom, you know, cleaning the toilet brush. Nigga don't want to get out there and scrub and shit. So he used the toilet brush and he cleaning the sink. Huh? Yeah, you don't even want to think about that. You don't want to think about that. You know what I'm saying? It was just some wild shit right there. But again, like I said, it makes you wonder a lot of times, again, if you eating out and you ordering, what kind of motherfuckers preparing your food? What kind of motherfuckers that's working there, right? Because, you know, sometimes, you know, a lot of people, like for me, when they don't get my order right, I send shit back. You know what I'm saying? I call them up, hey, man, come on, get this shit. This old-ass chicken, this old-ass pizza. Man, you better send back, take that. And a lot of people like, man, why you do that, man? Because you know that. I'm like, look, go ahead, give me the check. You understand? I'll take the check. You want to play that game? You want to play my food? And if I figure the shit out, I'm going to take that check all day long. But a lot of people say you don't fuck with it because they're going to do that kind of shit. Well, okay. You know what I'm saying? What don't kill you make you stronger, right? So you better hope I don't die. But anyway, you nobody want to go through that. And what's good, Indigenous King in the house? What's good to you? Peace and love to you and your family as well, sir. It's all good. Now, let's get moving on, right? So again, you think about that, right? Going to places where you be eating. And then, you know, again, you know, we're talking about food poisoning and you know, and you get the runs. A lot of times, be just mother going to the bathroom, don't wash their damn hands. You know, if you ever sat down in a restaurant and just sat a whole day and watched employees go in and out, mother come in, out, he went in as quick as he went in, he coming right back out. Then you ain't wash them hands. Nigga back there flipping burgers and everything. So training ain't even really the situation here. It's just the fact that they say operational procedures. This ain't the strict protocol. Well, these are the things you got to say because the light is on you. You got to say it now. Right? You got to say that. Anyway, we're going to move on. Talking about retraining. Shh. Not at them prices. You can't get quality. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. You can't get quality employees when you ain't paying nobody. The people that got to take them jobs, because again, this is the only avenue that it got for some kind of survival. So a lot of times, skills is like, you know, working at places you begrudgingly to be at. You know, call a place or deal with a motherfucker that just don't really want to be there. Why the fuck you out? Why are you here? Because you getting the check. But you know what I'm saying? You displaying a motherfucking energy that I don't like. But I ain't finna go to no manager shit. I just gonna, you know, I'm gonna shoot the shit back to you. You understand? But anyway, that is Burger King. Hopefully nobody here eats at that place. And again, like I said, we don't know most of the places we eat, what kind of motherfucker that be back there? You know what I'm saying? So that it is what it is. Now, let me go on to this one here, right? This one kind of went out there. Everybody kind of seen this. And it's like, well, you know, killing a sport, right? You know, we learn from, I don't know who we learn. Again, as we understand, again, going back, devolving back to origins of beginning, we had to say, well, at one time, human, not man, human, we got color man, right? They probably had been in Africa on the continent and so forth, right? Again, you ain't had no convenience store. You ain't had no, you know, shopping grocery store, right? So you had to get out there and you had to fin, fish, maybe had to wrestle, kill, you know what I'm saying? And that's part of the natural process. Now, from that period of time to where we is now, again, based on the stuff, again, we have a lot of people who are vegans, right? You know what I'm saying? They don't eat meat no more. Then there's those of us who still eat meat, right? We still got that kind of, you know, we're carnivores, right? We still like the taste. I seen a video with a white girl just eating straight up 2 pieces of steak raw. I was sitting there like, huh? She just showing my, huh? Oh, anyway. I'm glad to see you too, Indigenous King. I'll be here, man. Again, they finally got me back on. That's all it was, bro. And I've been slowly getting back, been trying to do things again. But again, Most Hated Show in the Black Corner, they took away my white extinction, cut my videos, cut my view. That took about 300,000 off my views, right? So I'm down to about 200,000. Been on 7 years, keeping some niggas suppressed. Keep me about 100 views. Again, we got something we're going to talk about, what you two talking about. I'm going to relate how that, again, I've been yelling at for years, and they finally where it's at right now. So I ain't going to be the only one they're going to be suppressing. Going to be a whole lot of these, you know, channels in the black corner that's going to get suppressed. But I feel you as that well too, bro. I thought you had gone left me, bro. I ain't see you here no more. I was like, damn, he gone. All right, it's all good, though. So anyway, good to see you here. And again, like I said, this trophy business, man, and again about they call it hunter-gatherers, right? Well, that was appropriate. And still in some indigenous parts, that probably still goes on. Again, everybody else is getting pretty much regulated where they can't even fish in certain areas in the country, can't get certain animals because they're becoming restricted, right? Okay, so, but you have people who do shit like this. Now, let me show you this and be right back. Check this out and be right back.
With this, images of hunters celebrating their trophies often draw widespread support. Condemnation. Tess Talley knows this firsthand. We are hearing from her today for the first time since this photo of a giraffe she killed in South Africa in 2017 prompted worldwide outrage. That outrage has not stopped her from going on more trophy hunts. Adam Yamaguchi of our CBSN Originals unit followed Talley as she tracked a wildebeest on a wildlife ranch in Texas. Take a look.
I heard that bullet hit good.
Good. They don't go down easy all the time.
Tess isn't just any trophy hunter.
This is where we take the pictures.
Okay, you ready? Not long ago, a picture just like this made Tess infamous.
Perfect.
and turned her life upside down.
An American hunter is pushing back against her critics.
In 2017, she killed a giraffe, and in the summer of 2018, the picture she posted went viral.
This is a part of the black giraffe that I shot. Black due to old age. Something that I could take around with me and have him with me on all my hunts. I got the gun case made, and I have decorative pillows made out of him, and everybody loves them.
So tell me about that giraffe.
Tell me about that whole experience. He really was. Not only was he beautiful and majestic, he was good. And we all take pictures with our harvest.
Yeah.
That's what we do. It's what they've always done. There's nothing wrong with that.
And Tess Talley joins us now. Tess, good morning. Good morning. Let's go right to this picture that has caused so much outrage. When many people see that picture of you in front of the giraffe, they see a pointless killing, a cruel killing, and not only that, they see an American woman posing for a picture, smiling, and seeming to take glory and celebration, a sense of pride in what many people see as a murder.
Right.
What do you see in that picture?
I see it as it's a hobby. You know, it's something that I love to do. It's conservation. And this hunt in particular was conservation hunt. That giraffe was...
Which means what, Tess? What does that mean, conservation?
We are preserving the wildlife. So what we do is we take out, like, we are managing herds. We're managing numbers of wildlife. And we're hunters, and we're proud to be a hunter. I am proud to hunt, and I'm proud of that giraffe.
You say it's about conservation, but the smile, the clip we just saw, it seems like there's a lot of pleasure in it too, a lot of joy.
But yeah, you do what you love to do. You know, it's joy. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to continue to do it.
You also said remorse, though, and that stands out to me. If there's remorse, why do it?
Yes. Well, it's, you know, everybody thinks that the easiest part is pulling the trigger, and it's not. That's the hardest part. But you gain so much respect and so much appreciation for that animal because you know what that animal is going to. They are put here for us. You know, we harvest them, we eat them. And it's not just U.S. You know, I am okay with providing for my family and my friends with meat, wild game meat, which is fabulous. But I'm also okay with providing meat across the globe. And they depend on that.
When you talk about they are here for us to enjoy, to see.
They are.
Once they're killed, though, that takes it away from others being able to see. If it's about conservation, why not put the money that you'd put towards a big game hunt towards just conservation so others can see that animal?
Yes, I would rather do what I love to do rather than to just give a lump sum of cash somewhere and not know particularly where that is going.
But we've reported on this broadcast, and others have as well, that the money from conservation hunting, as you describe it, is a paltry sum compared to wildlife tourism. So the argument isn't the strongest. If you say joy, you say you enjoy it, that I understand. The conservation part doesn't add up.
It's tough. It's a science. It's really hard. I'm not a conservationist. I'm a hunter. So I do my part. Conservationists need us hunters.
If you knew
to fund them.
If you knew it didn't lead to conservation, would you still do it?
Just knock down animals just to be knocking them down and it not helping anything? No.
If this is about conservation and about helping wildlife, why the picture for your Facebook page? Why the celebration of the death?
That's the hardest thing, Tess. I have to say,
It
for
is.
me too, looking at the picture, the glee you appear to take out of it, and then to see you with the carrying case and the pillows, that seems to go beyond sport to me. Help us understand exactly what it means to you.
The pictures are a tradition that hunters have done long before social media. When social media came around, that's when there was an issue. That's when people started backlashing, and they
Were
had
you
a
surprised
platform.
at the reaction that you got from posting those pictures?
I kind of was surprised. Yeah, I really wasn't expecting things to go crazy as they did. I was posting that for myself, my friends, and my family, and the tons of like-minded people that I associate with and communicate with on social media.
How bad did it get for you?
Oh, it got really bad. I received mails at my house. They were spreading out the addresses where they think that I may be. They were showing up at my work. They're calling my employer, trying to get me fired. I have a great employer, and he supports me all the way.
And you're still hunting?
Absolutely.
All right, Tess Talley, thank you very much for explaining yourself to us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Trophy hunting, killing, or conservation is part of our documentary series, CBSN Originals. It is streaming right now on cbsnews.com/hunting.
All right, well, we back. So, old Tess, the natural killer, huh? Killing for sport, huh? Ain't that something, huh? The animals, huh? Ain't nobody safe from y'all, huh? Nobody, huh? Everything, huh? Everything game, huh? Humans, mans, animals, it don't matter. And then just the logic in what was being said, right? They call it trophy hunters. Right? What do you mean by trophy hunters, right? I mean, you know, I mean, her aspect of the stuff that she said, she talking about, well, they were put here, right? They were put here for us to harvest and eat. Well, wait a minute. That means everything. I mean, you know, it's kind of like termites, right? The termites, they eat up the whole, they eat up, at least the way the cartoons used to display them, right? Eat up the whole damn house, right? Eat up everything in sight, right? Well, based on the simple fact that you're going to other places and depleting the natural sources of their inhabitants for your sport and play. Now, again, you want to say, you say, well, I like wild game. Well, I didn't really hear for your consumption. You understand? In the way that y'all doing it. Now, again, if you was living in on the continent, and this is what your family had been doing for eons, maybe that would be a little bit more acceptable. But it don't look like that's where you originate from, and that does look like you just doing some stuff again, because again, like they said, the glee in your eye. You just have this, you know what I'm saying, this Friday the 13th look in your eye, this Michael Myers look in your eye when you're sitting there taking pictures and they're sitting there dead, right? So he called the black giraffe, right? And I said, well, he said black, not because he's black, it's like, because due to old age. Now black means old age? Or maybe that's why they said the dark ages too, right? Dark ages mean when black people were ruling and it was dark because they were ruling. Maybe, okay, all right. So, you know, teaches on how you do what you want to do. Then she said, oh, you know, look at this bag. Look at the bag I made from that black giraffe. The bag. Everybody loves everything. I mean, matter of fact, he was delicious. He was delicious. All right. And posing with the pictures of him, right? And they said this is a hobby. Now, let's look at this, man. Let's break down. What do you mean by hobby, right? So my thing is, I say application, right? I think application to be a word for hobby. I think like sideline, side interest, you know, pastime. It says also diversion, huh? What about recreation, relaxation? Right, that's it, relaxation. Hobby is a relaxation, right? Like killing, huh? What about entertainment? Ain't hobby or entertainment too? You entertain with it, right? Amusement, huh? Now these are your words. Fun, play, huh? Sport, game. That's what a hobby is, right? That's a hobby. Then she says, well, we're also there as conservationists. Now, we're there for conservation. Now, wait a minute. That's why the dude was like, wait a minute. Wait. Conservation? Now, how that works and what you're talking about. Now, conservation would be preservation, preserving, saving, restorative, protection, supervision, control, keeping safe, safekeeping, charge, custody, maintenance, upkeep, and support. Now, how does one who come in there to kill for sport as a hobby is talking about we're trying to also preserve you at the same time? It don't, see? Something wrong in the way you looking at this, right? And then, well, you know, this has been going on before there was social media. It was going on long before there was social media. Of course, what has been in the dark is now coming to the light. Do I need to say that again? What you've been doing all this time in the dark has now come to the light. And because of that, people cannot fathom to see what is the purpose and why you're doing what you're doing. Right? Well, she said, well, why would I? He said, well, they're here for us to enjoy and see, but I don't want to spend my money because I don't want to know what my money is going to a person who I go to see who, again, safekeeping and preserving them and having them in this fake ass inhabitant that I don't want to pay money to go see. I just want to go see him and kill him, and then I can keep the, after I eat him, he's delicious, and then make bags and shit. Everything gonna be good. Right? I mean, come on, man. Really? I mean, it's just funny, right? Like I say, they was saying, well, isn't there remorse in you? Because it's like your joy. There's a joy in killing, right? There's a joy that you seem like you're killing when you take this picture. It's like you got this glee in your eye, right? But no, that's not how she sees it. See? So no one is safe. Okay, so if you're going to have trophy for that, maybe there's trophies on our heads. I done told y'all, and I say it again. One day, when all this is excavated, and people get to see in the deep, dark dungeons, in the hidden caves, and safes and things of what they call man caves they be talking about, we're going to see some trophies that ain't animals. We're going to see some trophies that ain't going to be animals. Taxidermists, what they talking about, stuffing animals. Well, you going to see some peoples. And you know who I'm talking about, who you might see. Because, I mean, if your rationale can be, well, this is what it is. It's natural. Then, when we see, again, we talk about hangings and lynchings and coming for souvenirs. Well, if you do that, then I guess, what was that movie, 8 millimeter? You ever seen that movie, 8 millimeter? The snuff movies. It's called snuff movies, right? Or somebody pays somebody to watch somebody actually get snuffed out. So ain't nothing under the sun new. There's all kinds of stuff. Like I said, one day, maybe I won't be here. One day, that stuff going to be revealed. And everybody going to be appalled of some of the things of the sickness. You're going to be like, God damn, what? You would have never thought that. And moving on, right? See, I got a couple messages out here. I got Digits King says, I've been watching your videos on playback. You bring real up-to-date info and ride with your fam. I'm glad only savages kill for sport. Right? Check that out, right? And that's my whole thing. So let's say it like this. If killing is a sport, and then let's say for the fact that how people who get inculcated by watching TV, kids, you start off as a kid, you may be a TV baby. When I grew up, I was a TV baby, not because my parents weren't there, it was just shit. I like TV like that, right? And coming up out of here, I came up TV, so you had to have a good ass theme. That's how I know how to put my shit together. I come out of that era with, TV themes, we were moving on up, all that good shit. They had to have a good ass theme and, the whole theme to it. So you can watch that, but then I know the transformation of how TV went from when it was stuff that, again, you didn't want kids to see to, again, like I say, Jason, Michael Myers, Freddy, the Changeling, Chucky. All this shit is becoming a natural element to the fact it was scary when it first came, and then it got to the point that it's like it's got to get even more gorier. So now you take that, and then I'm going to give you this Godfather. I'm going to give you Al Pacino. I'm going to give you all this stuff and wondering why that everybody talking about pull up then. Think about it. Why everybody talking about pull up? Because you learned from the best. You understand? You learn from the best. So you going to pull up is because the culture, the environment is a pull up culture. It's a trophy hunter culture. You get what I'm saying? Everybody on that trophy hunter, because the minute if a brother see a brother in his disrespect he feel, he gonna bag you, huh? Motherfucker talking about wanna bag you. Well, they ain't no different than that woman right there, Tess, right? But the only difference is you don't get to see them. They sitting in the graveyard somewhere, or they somewhere in the urn somewhere, or somewhere they up somewhere stinking, ain't been found. But again, you learn from the best, right? And he says it can be a sport, right? So that's why you can see serial killers and so forth and things like that, because again, it's in somebody's nature and their blood. And what done happen is because of your proximity, your fraternization, your spirit of being amongst them and being inculcated with all that spirit of that shit, you done got desensitized and nothing almost don't even affect you anymore. to the fact that shit, you could, somebody that said, shit, there was 48 people killed today in Chicago. And you be like, damn, that's it. And you just go on to the next story like ain't nothing happened. You understand? So it can be, now it's a sport, game, entertainment, and play. Right? There's this part of the natural norms today. And so that's what that just looked like. And that's why so many people who don't have that taste for blood are appalled and looking at that and say, damn, just to be able to do that? I mean, you saying his life was put here just for the preserve, for you to do what you trying to do. That was it. And you said, well, I actually respect them. If he could come back and see you, he'll get you before you get him this time. Like once in a while we be hearing them still with a line and grab a motherfucker by his head and crunch his head, but they don't want to tell us who it be. We already know. Because we don't, the animals and black folks got this, we know. You ain't gonna never see a story where a bear done chased down and killed the black person. Because the black person ain't fucking around with a bear no goddamn way. You understand? Let me tell you a story one time. Let me tell you this story. One time I took my kids, went to the zoo. They had this big ass gorilla. Now, again, this was the biggest gorilla nigga ever seen. He was about 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". He's about 650 pounds solid. Like this motherfucker was at Bally's working out all day long. Next to the cage, it was packed that day. I mean, it was packed to back room. You couldn't move. I had a stroller, had my little one in the stroller. We all part of the other two was up on the window near him, sitting up there. He was sitting down. You know, he just sitting there. You know, he's sitting there. You know, in his mind what he thinking. Fuck, I get in this goddamn place. I think I was out there in the wild and that shit. Next thing you know, I wake up, I'm in this place. Niggas feeding me bananas and shit. Trying to give me some artificial ass place that I'm supposed to be living in. So there's some white boys in front of him, all in this place. Ooh, 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 ooh. Right? They playing. He, like I said, he big. I mean, it's solid packed up in there. Next to his cage, because this is all glass and case, next to him was the orangutans next to him. A baby mama orangutan had a baby. Came down, swung down, everybody seen she had a little baby. She laid it out right in front of her. I think this gorilla did some telekinesis shit. He did some shit with his mind and told them, put on the act. Check this out. He said, put the act on. Next I seen, and I kept my eye. I sit back and observe. I'm looking like, oh shit. Mama came down, swooped, put the baby down, laid down in front of everybody, swung back up. Everybody was, oh! The father seen the baby and was trying to come attack the baby. He running, tried to grab it. The mother came out of nowhere, swooped the baby up, scooped him up, and one scoop and went back up. Everybody was, ah! And I seen the big ass gorilla. Got up. He stepped back about 2 steps. That motherfucker ran to that glass. He jumped. I seen my eyes was like, oh shit. He hit that glass. Boom! He cleared the house. He cleared everybody out. He said, he want all you motherfuckers up out of here. He almost came through that glass, and I swear for God, if he'd have came through there, he'd have killed all of our ass. That's how mad he was. Now that's a real story for you right there. He was gonna come through and kill you all of us. He cleared the zoo out. Huh? You think they don't be thinking when they see you, they don't like you too? Nobody don't like you. Cause you fuck with everything. You know what I'm saying? You mess with everything. No equilibrium to nothing. Everything off balance. Moving on. You know, I got some stuff. I got stuff for days. You understand? This is what it is. Like you say, savage kill. Right? He cleared that whole zoo out. If he'd have came through there, and matter of fact, came back the next time, they got rid of him. He was a straight Negro African gorilla from the continent. He was not having it. He was like, I'm tired of this. So here you killing for sports and then talking about conservation, but keeping the numbers so that, no you're not. No you're not. Stop all that bullshit. Anyway, moving on. All right. Gave you a story at that, huh? All right. Take that one with you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and let me show you something here about this, the Google thing, right? Again, I've had my issues with them. Again, the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Can't get past 100. Every time I get past, once my numbers go up, They go all back down all of a sudden. Every time my subscribers go up, all of a sudden they just go back. Like the people came back. So I said, well, maybe there were some people who didn't. Again, they heard what I said later on. They didn't like it. Man, that could have been. All right, whatever. But I don't believe that's what it is. You're trying to keep me maintaining this stuff. We're trying to somehow chop down because it don't make sense. I ain't gonna say that everybody's supposed to be listening to me because you subscribe. Sometimes people subscribe and they don't even get back on. But you can't tell me 100 out of 23,000, you can't get 100 views. And the motherfucker on all day. So I seen this story here. Right? Check it out. Let me show y'all. Be right back. Check this out.
Google CEO is defending YouTube's practices despite a series of recent scandals. In a new interview, Sundar Pichai admitted that the company isn't perfect, and he acknowledged that YouTube doesn't guarantee top quality service that users expect.
This comes as the company faces allegations of fostering hate, enabling pedophiles, and spreading misinformation.
We aren't quite where we want to be, but I think it's a genuinely hard problem of how do you YouTube as the scale of the entire internet. And I think we are making a lot of progress. But the thing we are trying to do is to bring more authoritative sources and fact checks on videos which may be controversial. It's a case where we got it wrong, but that's what we are trying to do, and we are working hard to improve.
All right, for more on this, we want to bring in Axios Media reporter Sarah Fisher. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So what are the biggest takeaways from Pichai's interview with Axios?
I mean, my biggest takeaway is that he's definitely an engineer. This is somebody who really understands product, who really wants to build good product and innovate. And I think for a lot of these companies who are built by engineers, think about Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, the afterthought has really been public safety and has really been how do we create a product that's beneficial to society. Now we're starting to see the negative consequences. You see people like Sundar Pichai coming out in a different way. They're a little bit more shy in front of the camera, right, when they have to talk about these kinds of issues. So that was my biggest takeaway. I'd say contextually the biggest takeaway is that YouTube is Google's biggest problem. And remember, Google has a far-reaching business. They're doing everything from health products to advertising to internet around the world, but YouTube is really where their focus is right now.
I'm glad you brought that up because I thought to myself, a lot of people probably don't know that Google owns YouTube, and that's part of the conversation we keep having, that they're really just a handful of power players, and they own a number of different platforms. So you may think, oh, I don't want to deal with Google, I'm only going to deal with something else, and you might actually be dealing with Google or Facebook or whatever. So let's go through sort of some of the recent scandals that they've had to navigate, because it seems like they're always playing catch up.
Always playing catch up. So the biggest ones in this year, one is child sexual exploitation. We've seen this time and time again on YouTube where reports come out that there are pedophilia rings, whether it's through the videos or the comments itself. YouTube has tried to play catch up. Okay, we're going to eliminate advertising on those types of videos. We're going to make it harder for those types of creators to be able to share things more often. But at the end of the day, the problem still exists, right? I think 400 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. Can you imagine policing through all that? So that's problem number one. Problem number two is hate speech and violent speech. When you have people that are calling out individual groups, saying that one group is less than another, or even targeting individuals has become a problem. We saw last week a Vox journalist was targeted by someone that Google and YouTube said, we don't need to take this person down. They're not violating our policies. Well, after enough outcry, they finally did. So really what the content problems come down to on YouTube is people doing bad stuff. Google's AI machines are not catching it, and that's where their policies have to be a little bit more strict.
So it's not that I'm trying to understand, if somebody is posting video that shows children being sexually exploited, it's not that they're allowed to do that. It's that the algorithms or the measures that they have in place are not catching and flagging those videos.
Such a good question. So part of it is that, yes. The other problem is that people who want to do bad things on YouTube figure out ways to manipulate the system. They'll figure out a way to post a video that's just on that borderline so it doesn't necessarily violate the rules, but still, in context, it's really bad. And so that's where Google is really struggling. It's where Facebook is struggling too, this borderline content issue. And so people will say, well, hey, before you just take down my video, why can't you tell me what that borderline is so I know not to go near it? And Google's response, Facebook's too, is, but if we tell the world how our algorithm works, then the world is going to try to beat it.
Right.
So they're in a very difficult position when it comes to trying to filter out some of this really harmful stuff.
Yeah, we talked last week about some of the disturbing videos that actually aren't disturbing really. They're sort of parents uploading their kids playing in the pool, but because of the nature of people who are sick people, they sort of pervert that. And that's part of the reason why it's difficult to police the videos that get uploaded on YouTube. So listen, there's going to be federal hearings, right? Federal investigations into Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple. The FTC and the Justice Department are looking into sort of anti-competitive practices. Tell me what we can expect tomorrow.
Yes, so tomorrow's a big hearing. You have the House Subcommittee on Antitrust is going to be looking into whether or not Google, Facebook, and tech companies, they're exploiting their dominance to hurt the news industry, to hurt us. Essentially what they're saying is, look, we haven't passed any meaningful legislation around tech companies, with the exception, quite frankly, around sexual exploitation. And because of that, we might have inadvertently let them dominate the news industry and all the ad revenue. How is this impacting society? How is this impacting the news we're getting? So that's what you're going to hear tomorrow. The big news industry heavyweights and alliances will all be there testifying. And then what you should expect further down the line is we're going to have more hearings about this kind of stuff. Are Google and Facebook exploiting dominance in other areas? It might not even just be media. It could be retail. And so this will carry on for many, many months. And by the way, once you open that can, it's not going back. Once we start investigating these tech companies and start thinking about ways to regulate them, expect that regulation to happen.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Always great to have you, Sarah. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So we see that, again, for those who might have known, that Google owns YouTube, right? And that you see that Picard there was talking about they need some more authoritative, because, again, they're coming under the scrutiny of those or the power wielders and saying that, hey, you know, that YouTube over there in that black corner is causing a lot of riffraff. But we're going to talk about all this other stuff, right? We're going to talk about some child exploitative. For myself speaking, now I'm not out here looking for that. Now, I don't know, maybe some of you might have. I've never seen no child pornography shit on here. Unless that's the kind of shit somebody, again, when we talking about, this, with sport, right? Trophy shit, right? If that's the kind of shit you like, then I guess you'll go over there and you do that. But for me, that's not where I go, right? I ain't looking for that kind of stuff. It may be out there, but I don't really think that all this is really pertaining to you about some of the stuff that they saying. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like they showing you the left hand, but you ain't seeing the right hand, right? And so they said they want to do a product that would be, safe for society, right? You got to remember, this country was built a certain way, and it has a certain element. It has a certain spirit about it, regardless of, even though there's a lot of good people from all different kinds of walks of life, there's still another element that is just what it is. You don't get control. Again, as I was talking about before, about growing up and being TV babies and certain aspects of what you watched back then to what you see today. Children today have more access. Again, like I said, let's say if you come out a certain time, you didn't know nothing about nudity unless maybe you might have caught. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you slipped up, your parents let you walked up on them, or you seen somebody else do something, or primarily it was a magazine, right? Somebody had some dirty magazine. You seen the magazines, and then when cable came on, when it finally came on, back in the old days, it used to have a squiggly line, right? The fuzz. Now, the one thing, you couldn't see nothing else about the cable, but they did allow that part. You could see the outline of somebody doing something. So you try to get the aluminum foil, put it on the antenna, try to get the squiggly line out, and try to fine tune it so you could just see, look, you see, right? It was hard for you to get access to see certain things. But now, due to the time we in and the access that these phones and computers have, you know what I'm saying? It's just saturated with the accessibility from any age. You know what I'm saying? Little one just happened to play the phone and hit up on something to see something, and next thing you know, sitting there watching it, right? I remember one time there was people upload. Now again, I'll tell you, one time I was watching, I seen something, it was a video, and the way they had I guess it was just, what you call it, the image that they have out there. I clicked on it, and when I seen that, there was about 6 dudes in a circle pumping each other naked. And I was like, what is this? Now, again, like I said, I never seen child exploitation, but I seen that. And I was like, wow. You understand? So I get there is some sick people who are here who want some attention. But like I said, I don't think this is what YouTube promised. I think YouTube, again, they're talking about election. Black people talking about reparations, right? Black people in the black corner are trying to be informative. And so they want to try to say that what we're doing is fake news, right? So YouTube is Google's biggest problem. You got to fix this. And remember, if you go back, those who were avid watchers of my show, remember I told y'all before that the YouTube fake news is coming. The war with I told y'all. Matter of fact, I told you the meeting that's coming around the corner. I already told you that months ago. See, if you over here, I keep you, again, Indigenous King, no, I keep you up on certain things that you may not think that has no relevance. But again, news is a cycle. It starts here, and then you're going to see the fruition of it later. And it's, again, depending on who's your sources, if they keep and maintain on that, you're going to be up on that. And so I see now that they saying that, the AI policy about the algorithm is not catching certain aspects of things. And again, for myself, being the most hated show on the black corner of the internet, I've been suppressed for the last 3-4 years now. Right? You could go, they made sure to get that 300,000 video I had to get that to make it seem like when I talk that I'm talking crazy. So now you're only going to see the 52,000. It's finally starting to get a little numbers. I got about 4 or 5 videos they done banned, right? And those got big numbers on it, but they want to think that nobody wants to hear what you talking about. Okay, that's fine. You play that game, it don't bother me none. But I'm trying to tell other people how this is coming, right? The manipulating the system. So I have things in the background that I have been fighting them with. Again, all you got to do is right now, go in and put in Mr. Blows Your Mind in the search engine. And Mr. Blows Your Mind name will not come up in the search engine. You're going to have to spell it fully out, and you will get nothing in proximity about something say I blow your mind, which has nothing to do with it. And this whole thing is marketing to keep you or anybody from finding my damn channel. But they tell me, oh, you're going to tell me that the AI is going to pick you out about, no, motherfucker, you doing it. You act as if like you can't have something that you can do to insert that keeps that and isolates me and puts me in a corner, right? That's the kind of game they want to play. So anyway, they said there's the disturbing videos that are out here. Now, what is the disturbing video that black people could be playing? Black people only know 2 things. Either they're going to be on an entertainment aspect, because we don't do some of the stuff that white people, all the little kitten movies, and we don't do that shit, right? Because our life is we dealing with too much shit on a historical, day-to-day base. We're going to be dealing with race. We're going to be dealing with movies, entertainment, or somebody trying to sell you some shit, right? Or somebody trying to teach you some kind of, some theoretical, some kind of school of thought, right? So basically, when you look at it, it's dealing with a fact that is true. And when it talked about hate speech, how to define what is hate speech. Let's look at this, y'all. Let's look at this. Let me show you something. Let me break some of this down. Let me show you something. See, let's do this. Hold on. Okay, let's see this here. Let me start from here. Right, let me do this first and then bring that up here. Show y'all something, man. Let's break down some of that stuff they were saying in that video. All right, let me show you on the screen here. Look on the screen, right? It says YouTube policy changes, prohibiting claims of group of superiority. Now, black folks don't do that. We ain't telling you we the greatest. We just said we was here first, right? Because, see, the way we've been subjugated in this land to make everything about us to be like we don't have no contributions. We are the dredge of the goddamn planet. We the worst, this, and that, and all this stuff for years and years and years we have been enduring. So black folks will never be on here, be just sitting here saying, guess what? We superior over white folks. That ain't how we don't get out like that. We don't have to do that. We do it in our actions. If you did suppress us, you would see it. You know that. Come on. Banning videos promoting Nazi ideology. Now again, prohibiting claims of groups of superior, that might be white folks. Banning videos promoting Nazi ideology, that's white folks. Changing which videos get recommended. Now that's black folks. Like Mr. Blow Your Mind. My videos don't get recommended. Rarely. Now they're doing the analytics. You're seeing, you got about 3,000 looks this month. Damn, this month we're going all day long. How I get 3,000 looks? It's on all day long. I mean, damn, I can't. No more than that. And I'm only gonna get about 90, 50 views in a whole damn month. I was getting 200, 300,000 at one time. But you don't tell me that's just a figure of my imagination. So they said they want to tighten the ad revenue. Guess what? Remember at one time you were seeing a lot of different, there were so many damn different channels on the black channel. Then they went back and remember they went cut the money. They cut that money. You see a lot of channels fall off because a lot of people was relying on that money. But again, people are exposed and bringing out certain truths, things people don't want to hear. And people are offended because we're bringing truth. I seen a white dude say, man, if I want to know something true, I go in the black corner. I don't go where white folks at because they ain't going to get all that. It is white folks who talk about truth, but if you want to hear some truth, go where the black folks at, right? Go over there where them black folks at, because over there they talking about some stuff that maybe you just don't want to hear, right? Things you just don't want to hear, so now that's offensive. So again, this is why YouTube is in trouble, right? Then you seen when he came in, he said the CEO defends YouTube practices. Now again, alleging of fostering hate. Now fostering hate. Now how do you define what's really hate? Is true hate? Is somebody saying something that is true and it offends you? Is it really hate? Is what you got to ask yourself. If I show you the facts, if I lay down the facts and I show you the stuff and then I say it, yes, it may bother you because, again, they said in a crowd of dogs, if I took a rock and threw it in the crowd of dogs, the dog that gets hit is the only dog that's going to yell. The only dog that's going to yell is the dog that gets hit. So what it is that we saying when we talk about reparations, what we talk about what we've been done wrong, when we talk about the police brutality, all these, are these hate? Is that hate? Or is that just the facts that somebody just don't want to hear? Right? Maybe it's something you just don't want to hear. So, what else did he go on to say? Let me go on so I can move on a little bit. All right. So then he goes on to here. He talks with this person here and says, we're not quite where we want to be. Right? We purged a lot of them out, but we didn't get them all out. There's still some that's still hanging on. Right? If you start to watch a lot of shows that are live, you start seeing their lives are getting cut. Last times I go back and I watch my video, I see it skip. Like I was saying something in the skip. Like they wasn't doing that when it, you know what I'm saying? It's getting more and more getting a little bit raggedy. I had it perfect. Now it's getting raggedy again. Because while in the background fidgeting, doing all kind of stuff, you ain't going to admit it. You know, the whole thing about certain people is if you can't prove it, it must not be true. Black people don't need to have the actual physical, tangible truth. We can just tell you the damn story. Now you refute the story. Now you on the defense have to provide that you're not doing it. So to say that, you really say what people saying hate and violence. No, black people are not speaking violence to nobody. We take more shit than anybody. Right? When everybody come home, walk over the shit that our asses done put, everybody say talk shit about all you niggas and your blackface, you do all that shit and we take it. We'll lash out at each other, but we never lash out at you. So when we in here, you give us a platform where we can now sit here and take some of the stuff that we carry daily. It becomes now hate speech. And now you're trying to figure out a way, how do we define this so that it falls in the category so we can penalize them? Huh? Because what has happened is, guess what? It is the black corner that made the Democrats have to try to figure out how do we win if we're not going to talk about reparations. See, when Kamala Harris came out, I ain't black. And they was like, no. Your ass ain't black. Your ass is doing this shit, this, and that. And what happened? She fell apart. Cory Booker's like, I'm black. Come on. Oh, no, not you either. Bernie Sanders, I don't know what reparations are. I walk with Dr. King, but I don't know what you're talking about. See? So they said, hey, man, you got to stop this shit they doing, right? You got to stop it. They out of pocket. They're not going along with the plan. They're not going with it. So then she said this, then it went on to this part right here. I got a little bit more, I'm done. Say how YouTube flagging works. So YouTube prohibits nudity, violence, and hate speech. Again, nobody's going to disagree with you doing with nudity. Again, nudity in the confines of your home. Whoever that is, your significant other, whatever that should be, whether same sex or whatever, that's your business. We don't need to see it. Violence, of course that should not be. But hate speech. There's two different types here now. Because see, there's one people who actually believe supremacy better than effigies of hanging and lynching and showing motherfucking nooses, calling people niggas. That's hate speech. Now, when black folks are sitting here saying, hey, this person here was wrongfully convicted. This person here was wrongfully killed by this one. This person here, they discriminating this here. This place, they were. Is that hate? Is that hate? That ain't hate. Flag inappropriate content by clicking flag button. Now again, you give the people the determinants to come and say flag a video. Right? That's kind of like calling 911 under your own discretion. People got hate in their heart, so what they'll do, I don't like what that nigga's saying. Flag his video. Flagging people. And yet, like white extinction, right? The video I did, white extinction. It said white extinction, but it wasn't talking about black people, myself, or anybody killing you. It was talking about the extinction for the simple fact that you can't procreate, and went the whole thing with it and said some other things, and you said, no, that hurt you so much. Take that shit off. Huh? But there was no hate nowhere in it. Then you still say, after you stopped it, put the motherfucker in the corner, say, okay, well, discretion, we're gonna make it so that, like it says down there, some videos may be require age restriction. So you put a restriction on it, and yet still came back and said, no, we gotta take it all the way out. But yet, you can't define what hate speech is. What was it? There was nothing but facts in the damn video. But yet it had, because it said white extinction. Nobody talking about killing you, but that's that in your head about that guilt, that burning reef on your head. You think everybody after you because you know what you do. Huh? Y'all know what you do. You know much about how you profess in front of everybody like you good people and we're philanthropists and we do all, yeah, you say that. But in the reality of it, there's a lot of behind the scene things that are being done. So where is it that black people are doing all this hate? Where's all these groups that going out there to try to killing people? You can't find it. They don't exist. But nobody wants us in this corner talking. You understand? Nobody wants us talking. All right, so I got one more part to this. One more. So it said then how to defend, right? Right? What they doing, again, we seen him, he said that little thing right here. It's also a hard societal problem, right? We are in a country that was built on racism, hatred. So one element may say, we don't have to because you don't deal with it. There's another people who have to deal with it, and the only way that they can get any kind of, let's say, way to bring some attention to it is to do what? To talk about it, right? And it may not be directly towards you. You may just be somebody who coming by and you hear it, and because you offended, you hate them. See? You don't deal with other people deal with, huh? Even he's saying that. He's telling you it's a hard societal problem because we need better frameworks around what is hate speech. Hate speech can't be truth. But you intertwining truth and hate and trying to say that when people sitting here talking the truth, that's hate to who? You hate it because they saying the truth? Or is it hate because they hating you? Or is it just the fact that what they saying is fact? So, and how do we as a company make those decisions that scale and get it right without making mistakes? You're making plenty of mistakes. You know why? Because you can't deal with the issue. See, that's why you have to deal with what done happened in this country, redeem it, repair it. Then, once that's been done, then we can define that easy because, again, it's been remedied. There's no remedy. You can't move forward. Why everybody don't understand that? You ain't remedied what done took place, but you just want it to just go away because if you don't talk about it, right? If you don't say nothing about it, it'll just go away. No, it don't. Because the cause and effects are still perpetuating to this day. The detriment economically, the generational gap wealth, and everything else, and the disparity, and all the other shit that's happening, right? How you going to just make that go away? You can't. You can't. But that's what you want. You want it just to fall, just go away, just for the simple fact because you say so, right? All right, so let's move on. All right, so that's YouTube, y'all. And those in the black corner, again, they trying to find a way to come up with a way to make what we say as hate speech. Everybody else who does what they do, that we know what that is. So who are y'all really talking about? It got to be us. It's got to be. You want what we saying because, again, also it talks about dominance, right? It's talking about they're having a meeting that they said Facebook, Google, YouTube is dominating the social media news. That the news can't compete with us. Let me say that again. They want to say, hey, we gonna have to make it where y'all can't even do that anymore because what it's doing, it's affecting that we in the media, who we call ourselves reputable news sources, right? Now we'll take the same news story that you got, but we're gonna talk it from our standpoint, from where we from, not from what you and how you rationalizing it. We the ones that deal with this. So we can take that same story that you got and I can say it an entirely different way that will reach the audience who understand where I'm coming from. And that's a problem. You understand? That is a problem with them. So understand that. So those who go out here and you finding people who you relate to that disseminate certain types of information and stuff, that's why they want to call it fake news, because it hasn't been stamped and approved by the system. What you say can't be valid because we didn't accredit it. No, I don't need you to validate nothing. I say I live the shit that you leave for me to live in. So only people that can understand me is the people who going through what I'm going through. Check. All right. As I say, he's angry. No, I'm not angry. I just know how to do what I say and then get right back in. I ain't lost no cool nowhere in this. Now, for those who, again, I done said about this before, check this out. This is where we at. There's a book that was put out some time back. I talked about it a couple times over here. And then a news article came out. Check this out. I'll be right back. Matter of fact, hold on before I do that. Before I do that, for those who might be sitting up in here, new up in here, let me give you a little this, and then we go to that. All right, let me give you a little this, and then we do that. Check this out. I'll be right back.
War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. 1984 is a book about a rebellion that fails, and the rebel knows it's going to fail. It's the most famous dystopian novel, but it's also a thriller and a love story, and in times a horror story. As Orwell knew, he didn't have the imagination of a great novelist. He was not very good at sort of conjuring things up. The texture of Airstrip 1 was inspired by London after the war, when it was still blitz damaged. The texture of the Ministry of Truth was based on his time working for the BBC. The destabilizing of the idea of truth had come to him when he fought in the Spanish Civil War and saw the news reports in many of the papers, particularly the Stalinist papers, just bore no resemblance to what he'd seen. Ingsoc was basically a satirical exaggeration of totalitarianism, of things that Orwell had learned about Hitler's Germany and Stalin's Russia. So it is oppressive on multiple levels. You have the thought police that basically arrest people for things that they haven't even done yet. You have surveillance through the two-way telescreen, and then you have the most pernicious form of all, which is doublethink, which basically teaches people to believe two contradictory things and to have lost faith in objective truth.
In Newspeak, the whole notion of goodness and badness will be covered by 6 words.
There's a new form of language called Newspeak, which is designed to limit the range of thought, to rewrite history and to rewrite reality.
We're not only inventing words, we're destroying them. Scores of them, thousands every day.
He was identifying these pernicious habits in the way that we talk, and which could lead democracies down a very dark path. If there's no word for freedom, how do you describe freedom? Surveillance is now at a level which was unimaginable in Orwell's time. The image of the two-way telescreen is so powerful and seems so prescient, and Orwell didn't understand the technology. He didn't own a television set like most people in Britain at that time, but he knew that the desire to surveil people was so powerful that whatever new technology came along, it was going to be used in that way. But when the BBC did the first televised version of 1984 in the 1950s, it caused outrage, and many viewers were horrified and scared. The director afterwards said one of the reasons was people still weren't used to having televisions, and the idea of a big brother staring down the lens out of the television was really unnerving in a drama which features the telescreen. It's just strange that that's what I'm doing now, and it's perfectly normal, and hopefully nobody is going to be terrified by me. Within a few years of the book coming out in the 1950s, people were talking about the doublethink and the thought police and Big Brother, and obviously over time that means that you get these very bizarre sort of travesties of the meaning. You know, the Big Brother TV series or the BBC TV series Room 101. When you do see these words, go back to the text and go, well, what did he really mean by the thought police? It's not, as some people suggest, political correctness. It's a bit worse than political correctness. There is so much in the book that different aspects of it come to the surface at different periods in history. So when it came out throughout the 1950s, it was seen as a study of totalitarianism and as a critique of Stalinism, which is true. But then as the Soviet Union began to weaken in the late 70s and in the 80s, people became far more interested in the technology, which is not actually a huge part of the book, but they became fascinated that it was a warning against computer databases and closed-circuit TV cameras. And what's happened recently, people are going to it for what it says about truth and flagrant lies and the nature of exerting power by distorting reality. And for a book to have these sort of multiple meanings so that it seems relevant at very different times in history for different reasons is remarkable, and perhaps not something that he would have expected.
All right. So again, for those who are avid watchers over here, we've talked about the book 1984 or the movie. If you haven't seen it, I suggest that you go and watch it, because you will see that there's a lot of comparisons in that book to where we kind of are today and have been for some period of time, right? And, it's a diasporian story, right? Again, it has different types of aspects to it. You got kind of like a love scene in there, and then there's all the other stuff that's going along in it too, right? But you see that the theme is basically talking about how, again, totalitarianism, right? And disabling truth, right? Again, as he was talking about, saying, like, INGSOC is kind of like what we just said, the clip before about Google. Google could be kind of like INGSOC, right? They control a lot of information, right? Every time when somebody, when people get into, you watch videos and people get into some kind of disagreement, well, Google it. So Google becomes the resource that you go to get your answer, right? So not that saying that you can't get reliable information from Google, but again, as he's talking about in 1994, that it was about what? Disabling truth, destabilizing truth, right? And rewriting history. So again, let's just say, for instance, just give you something like Michael Jackson. For those right now know, Michael Jackson was a black man. But based on how Michael Jackson ended up by the time he left, 100 years from now, and based on them kids that he got, they could rewrite Michael Jackson. He gonna be a white man. You get what I'm saying? Get rid of all the old stuff, like expunging it, right? We'll clean all that out. You know, probably ain't too many people gonna be able to have things that, because again, think about it. Everything becoming electronic, everything becoming digitized. So if you ain't got books, so nobody be able to say, look, this is Michael Jackson here. Again, you're gonna go to Google, Bing, or whatever they're gonna be at the time if they're still around. And that's what you're going to see. So they can be rewriting things. So the truth don't have to be what it is anymore. It'll be what whoever controls the server, kind of like whoever wields the pen, right, controls the history. Well, it's going to be later in history, going to be whoever controls the servers, going to be able to control what is true and what's not. Because, matter of fact, when you watch that movie, you see that the individual was in there. He was in there rewriting history. He was taking pictures off of people who it was and finding other people. And it was just a whole lot of, undermining what it was, right? And so thought police. Well, that's kind of like what's happening here with the sort of thing with the YouTube, what we've just seen. About what is hate speech, right? So they're going to police now and say what is and what isn't, even though it may not fit under the description of what they claim it is. But again, they have the discretion. Because again, it says, if the AI is going to, let's say, the algorithm is programmed to sift through so much, again, it's saying so many, like 400,000 videos or something every minute or something like that. So it has a lot of work. It's a workhorse and it's going to try to sift through all this stuff, but it has no real standard as to what it is. It becomes under discretion of those who observe it, just like they did with my video. They say, well, the community guidelines, the community. Now, community who sat back and observed it could be, let's say, if I'm talking about white extinction, and again, I'm not talking about killing nobody. I was talking about, again, what now is the news anyway, which is, again, now having babies, right? And the whole science and it was you, the one that was relaying all that. I was just reporting it, right? So let's say that all the people who was in the community who sat down to vote on it were all white folks. Well, I guess it would be said, because we are the majority, and we say it's not, even though it does not fall under that. But you have the power to will to say what is and what's not. So again, you destabilizing truth. Again, when it said double speak, you giving half, like you say. Well, hate speech is, we know when you say Nazism speak, white nationalist speech. We know that is, but then the stuff that black people doing, is that hate speech too? So it's double thinking. So people think, well, he said he don't like white people, so he's racist. He might be bigoted, but that he ain't got no power to determine to make white folks not be able to do nothing. You understand? Black people don't have no power to determine to make, well, you can keep white folks from doing this. You can stop them from educating this way. You don't have no kind of power to do none of that. So again, it becomes a blurred line as to what is. That's why I say there's no real definition. So how did you take my video down if you ain't got no true definition? It was under your own discretion. Under the populace or the people who sat there that voted, that probably was primarily the people who it was talking about and pertaining to them. All right. So it says that how technology is being used. And there won't be no word for freedom. That ain't even a word people even talk about no more. No. You see on your screen that go across on there, might say about wars, freedom, right? To get freedom, you got to go to war. And that don't necessarily, I'm just saying war means to fight. You have to fight for freedom. But that ain't even a word that people even use anymore. Nobody seem like everybody seem like they free. Nobody feel like their ass is restricted or restrained. None of that. It's just, it's all good. You just haven't pulled yourself by the bootstrap. You haven't applied yourself. There is no glass ceiling. You can obtain what you want until when the situation happened to you and your family, then you dealing with it. Now it's all of a sudden you can recall what history and what done happened. See? We don't pretend like that over here. So, said Big Brother watching you. Again, if you brand new, you new generation, cell phones, Everything is on surveillance. Everything we do is under surveillance, right? Everything we do. Everything being tracked, all your data, going into the monster somewhere up in Utah. See, like Utah got the DNA. Utah got the damn data. You understand? And so what are they going to do with all this? So now it's getting to where technology is going to be in a face recognition. It gave all that stuff to Facebook, right? So now then China's coming out with a behavior, right? You're going to get bad credit because you ain't got good behavior. Mr. Blow, I ain't going to have bad credit. Not because I got bad behavior, because of what I'm talking about, right? Somebody going to say, you ain't got no good credit, so don't worry about that. You won't be able to get none of the perks and the benefits because you're talking about certain things. That's where it's going, y'all. This is where it's going. Truth will be stable to the fact that you can't even discern what the lie from the truth is anymore. We done already seen it. We've been seeing it. But the problem is there's some people who still got the truth in their mouth. Because again, even though a lot of people who may not take the Bible for what it is, again, I'm not telling them what to do it now. I'm just saying, in the beginning, the word was, and the word was, and the word is. Meaning, the only word, the only sword that the black people got is what? The word. Don't you know that? That you could be them us and they start talking that shit, and all you gotta do is start talking about what done happened to you in your history and that. It shuts everybody down. Everybody mad now. So you have a sword. Always have a sword. That's why they didn't want you to read. That's why they don't get no interviews with you with somebody who gonna talk and say it the way it should be, because they don't want to hear the truth. They want the truth to be what they want it to be, not what it is. And that's what this is about. So we're gonna move on from there, right? Okay, so we're going to move on from there, right? So, that's what it is. 1984, for those, again, may not have seen it. It is what it is. Now, let me just show you something as to the fact about that, about how history is purported one way, how people will take it. Now, watch what this dude, remember this dude, when you see this dude, listen to what he says, and then I'm going to give you the history behind that whole thing that a lot of people may not have known. Check this out. And we should be right back. Check this out. And let me get this just in case somebody's sitting up in here. Check this out. I'll be right back. Oh.
It's not about beaches and barbecue. Memorial Day is not a day to celebrate, but rather observe.
Just to let everyone know, in New York, it's not all about the barbecue. It's about those, that beautiful flag and those soldiers who gave their all to, their lives.
Once a year, we're called upon to honor those who served our nation.
What should the tone of this weekend really be?
Very, very solemn, because of the fact that we're honoring the men that went before us and, gave us the country that we have.
Jeremy Butler is with Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. He tells our streaming service, CBS in New York, we can all join together at the same time.
There is a national moment of remembrance on Monday, 3 p.m. local time, and so we call the campaign Go Silent. Think about a service member maybe in your family, maybe a service member that is close to you, or just those service members in general that have given their lives over the years of our country.
The message isn't to be silent for the weekend. In fact, enjoy your time with your family. But pause to reflect and remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice.
They died for this country. They died for all of us to have those freedoms in order to enjoy our day-to-day lives, to enjoy this barbecue, to enjoy this holiday.
Along with veterans past and present, together we can honor those who have given everything to help give us a future. In Midtown, Steve Overmeyer, CBS 2 News.
Remembering the black origins of Memorial Day. You know I'm going to say this again. Remembering the black origins of Memorial Day. The black impact of Memorial Day also always need to be remembered. This story seems to be coming out of the Shadow League. And this is how it reads. This weekend, we celebrate Memorial Day to honor the men and women of the United States Armed Forces who made and continue to make the ultimate sacrifice, fighting for and protecting the nation they love. The very first Memorial Day was on May 1st, 1865 in Charleston, South Carolina, when formerly enslaved Africans held a ceremony to honor 257 dead Union soldiers who had been buried in a mass grave in a Confederate prison camp. They spent the next 2 weeks digging up each body and giving them a proper burial to honor them for fighting and dying for the freedom. The gracious African Americans then held a parade of 10,000, led by a procession of nearly 3,000 black children dancing, singing, and marching in celebration. Yet despite its origin, the African American impact of the shaping of Memorial Day is mostly forgotten and ignored by the mainstream. Indeed, it is as easy for a contrarian to forget the black origins of Memorial Day as it is for them to forget the massive contributions that African Americans have made to the military successes of the nation dating back to before the American Revolution. Despite edicts from historical figures like George Washington, who stated that the Continental Army would not have black soldiers, warriors of African descent have fought in every war that America has engaged in over its entire span. Neither Negroes, boys under to bear arms, nor old men, decreed General Washington on November 12, 1775, could enlist in the Continental Army, which is why close to 20,000 slaves fought on the side of the British. Black fighters, black protectors. As children, the code name of some of those vaulted soldiers sounded so powerful that they should have been immortalized in comic books. The Harlem Hellfighters, the Tuskegee Airmen, and others with call signs lost to history are often mentioned when the need to promote national pride among African Americans become apparent, such as on Veterans Day, the 4th of July, and on Memorial Day. For most of American history, fighting units were segregated up until Executive Order 9981 was passed by President Roosevelt, which stated, "It is hereby declared to be the policy of the President that there shall be equality of treatment and opportunity for all persons in the armed service without regards to race, color, religion, or national origin." Heck, and that may not have occurred unless First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt had not convinced her husband to allow black warriors to fight on the front lines and for more women of all colors to participate in the war effort. She also supported the Tuskegee Airmen becoming the first black fighter squadron. However, whenever a prominent member of the mainstream champion equity for African Americans, the nation becomes less and less enthusiastic about the measures as time goes on. Doubly so once the primary sponsor of said overtures dies, as was the case with Eleanor Roosevelt in 1962. It is beyond a shame that the action of those who were in the muddy and bloody trenches of the Western Front during World War I, or in the sweltering jungles of the South Pacific during World War II, or who traverse a mountain range on afoot to hunt Taliban in Afghanistan, don't act as automatic validation for their rights. The inherent white supremacist undertone that have historically permeated the American experience have bled through time to entangle even the greatest and most sincere attempt to societal equity in favor of African American people. Thus, no matter how Herculean the feat, no matter how dedicated the soldiers, no matter how mentally and emotionally traumatized her or she becomes after killing in the name of the flag, the mainstream consensus is persistently one of apathy. It is seen by some as a privilege for the black man and woman to die in defense of Old Glory, while Old Glory generally doesn't give a damn about them. Remembering them. Meanwhile, observation phenomena such as the lynching of black soldiers following both World War I and World War II, as well as the modern data that shows black soldiers are far more likely to face court-martial and dishonorably discharge than their white counterparts, are indicative of the constant fight for acceptance that every African American serviceman in the past and present has had to undertake. So, as you watch the parades today or light up the family barbecue, take a moment to remember and acknowledge the sometimes forgotten individuals, from the Buffalo Soldiers to the Tuskegee Airmen, the Bloods from the Vietnam War, and other black men and women of the military, both past and present. And happy Memorial Day to those who fought American enemies abroad, only to realize that battle had only just begun at home. All right. Thank y'all for y'all patience for me reading that out. So I just want to bring some information again. I know Memorial Day didn't already pass, right? And so that a lot of times, again, as you've seen the clip before it, the video, when you hear people, when they do on Memorial Day, they talk to the people, the soldiers, and they tell you, oh, it's about the flag and, they're commemorating those who fought in the war and so forth. See, once again, they don't like to tell you the truth of the fact that we become the first of a lot of things in this nation, right? And then, when we think about the things like, let's just say Kaepernick, right? When Kaepernick took the knee and talking about being unpatriotic and all, it's like everything about black folks seem to always have to try to prove our patriotism to a land that we gave much more than many people who either just coming, have been here, or been here from the time we was here and even before we was there, before we even got here, right? And no one wants to give credit. So I took it upon myself to make sure that those who come and watch on my show, I try to keep you informed as best way as possible of what I know to bring and disseminate to you. And it's not saying that I know everything. And I got the phone line. You can teach me something, right? I'm not to the point where I can say I don't learn. I try to learn every day. That's why I'm a voracious reader. I read a lot, right? So, point is, May 1st, 1865, African American soldiers who had lost about 257 of their brethren, who had been caught by the Confederate, been killed by the Confederate, decided they were going to go over there and retrieve the bodies and give them a burial. Again, that was an old tradition, right? Again, you hear on this show, right? First, give to the Creator, right? And then it says to the ancestors, right? That's just part of who we are. And Sharon Washington, what's good, sister? I seen you. I don't want to say I didn't see you. I seen you. So, with that. And so what we have is that this mass grave that they had in the Confederacy, they went and they recovered the bodies, again, kind of repatriated and took them back and gave them the proper burial. And then after that, they set up and had a parade. So about 10,000 of them, children out there, again, this is a black thing. This is what's inculcated. This is where this originated from. It didn't originate with them. That's not part of who they are. But again, they took it, right? And seen something about it and said, hey, with some commercialism, we can sell a lot, we can make some money off this too, right? And it's an honorable thing to do, is all to commemorate those who fight and give, except for our people can do the same thing as other people do and not get the same. It's like two different countries. Privilege for you, and as if like our contributions haven't allowed you to afford the luxury life and the opulence that y'all have. And then you mad at us because we'll start talking about this and we'll start bringing these facts out and we start talking about the truth and you get angry. You have to say, in reflection of self, when you look at yourself, that's what you're angry about. Because again, this old saying said, I hate you more because you know that I done you wrong. Let me say that again. Old saying is, I hate you more because you know that I know that you know that I done you wrong. And that's what this shit is about. You done us so wrong that the conscience eats at you to the fact that it's now become reprehensible for us to even open our mouths about what done transpired. So some people, grandiose idea is just to purge it all out. Get rid of all of them. If you haven't acclimated in the dredge, we're never going to accept you. Right? So you just want to bury it. You know? It's like having a dirty ass room. Some people, when you're coming up, you literally had a dirty ass room. Somebody coming in there. But, you know, in this case, somebody who's so damn dirty, they know everything else in there. You come in there, it's all junky and, you know what I'm saying? But they can go in there, pull out a motherfucking wine cooler from under this pants, motherfucking cupcake from over there, a slice of pizza. You know what I'm saying? That's how they operate. What is it? Order out of chaos? Well, I guess that's how you operate, because we ain't trying to do that. We trying to have some, you know what I'm saying, some structure about this. What's good for the goose should be good for the gander. Right? Just look at us and try to say that we have a contributing game is, you know what I'm saying, it is the farthest thing from the damn truth. And to say to us, black Americans, to go back to Africa. So anyway, again, this commemorating again with the Harlem Hellfires, the Tuskegee Airmen, the Buffalo Soldiers, and then you realize that we've been, other than with George Washington, right? That's the only war we didn't fight in, because George Washington said, no, I don't want none of them on our team. No Negro boy, none of them fight us. And we say, all right, we're going to fight with the British. And God be damned. Huh? Huh? What would have happened? 20,000, they say, according to this article. Right? Took us out the plantation, put a uniform on us. That's the only way you was going to win. Had to tell the lie. Oh, we're fighting about slavery. You know you wasn't fighting about no damn slavery. Save the Union. Save the Union. All right, now we don't want niggas get back into the damn plantation. See? Ungrateful. The ungratefulness to it. Moving on. So, let's look at it this way. See, let me show you this story here. This story took place, and show this. Will be right back. Check this out.
Fed up, mad as hell, Schools Chancellor Richard Carranza unloads.
There are forces in this city that want me to just be quiet. There are forces in this city that want me to be the good minority and just be quiet, don't say a word, don't bring the race issue up. I will not be silenced.
Furious over stories questioning his hiring practices and school diversity training, Schools Chancellor Richard Carranza used a press conference to unveil the latest steps to make schools more equitable, to suggest his actions, unlike 7 previous chancellors, are questioned because he's Mexican.
As a man of color, you watch what the next attacks are going to be.
The chancellor's comments coming as he announced he had agreed to implement 62 recommendations from a school diversity task force to better address the needs of a school population that is 70% minority.
Today's a big deal.
The panel's recommendations designed to change the 3 R's to 5 R's: race and enrollment, resources, relationships, restorative justice, and representation. Among the steps, purchasing textbooks that reflect diversity, reducing disparities in how students are disciplined, creating student leadership teams, developing high-performing schools outside of Manhattan, and tracking the diversity of school staff, both teachers and administrators. The chancellor offered no time frame for accomplishing all the initiatives or a price tag.
What today represents for all of us is a passion for a New York City where every single one of our children, they are going to get the social mobility they deserve.
Matthew Diaz, a high school senior from the Bronx, was also a member of the panel.
I wanted to see curriculums that represent every community that make up the city. I wanted to see school faculty that looked like everybody in the city.
Well, the plan did not deal with enrollment changes to desegregate schools. That plan is expected to be developed and made public sometime this summer. Christina Maurice?
Okay, Marcia, thank you.
So we see in the Bronx, Chancellor there, Carranza, said that he's actually trying to, use his position in a way that would be beneficial. Again, that his district or is 70% minorities. It seems like that the only people who are getting the better benefits of it are the smaller minority I guess they call themselves majority minorities, right? That's what they're becoming, right? And so, again, when somebody who is going to do the job according to the way it's supposed to be and not slanted in the favor for other people, people are going to be upset about that, right? Right? It's like, how would you feel? And I guess this is a personal question to anybody who may be listening. How do you feel knowing that you have to, slant the game, cheat at the game, undermine and do everything to put yourself in the position that you believe you have earned it with merit? Knowing this, and then look at other people and realize that they are the byproducts of all the shit that you legislatively do, district do, and all kinds of stuff like that. And then have the mitigated gall, as they say, the mitigated gall to look at them in their damn face and say the reason your condition is due to your own merit or lack thereof. How can one look at oneself and say that with a straight ass face? Right? You not have can't be at the starting line with people. Then that tells that you, again, I think that in golf they talk about handicap. Right, you get a handicap because, again, you need certain to be able to compete. So it's like we don't got the handicap. We don't even get the handicap points. You get the handicap points and the advantage, and then say, "Come on, we're gonna play. This is playing fair." And then when somebody comes in, they get in the position and wants to do it the right way, and then diversification, again, I remember I told y'all the byword now these days, we're going to do diversity training when we get in a racial system, or just to go a new policy, to just a new way to say we're going to deal with it that we ain't trained them for. Now, his diversity plan is, I'm going to put people in position, we're going to do the job so that the minority people will get the benefits this time. And they don't like that. See? We don't want to talk about none of that. See, this is hate speech because you're talking about facts. Now you bring the facts to the light. And so because you do that, now everybody is upset with you. I always want to bring about race. Well, what else is there? It can't be a figment of my imagination. It can't be a construct, but that don't mean there ain't a reality aspect to it. It's on a daily basis. Like, again, I could do this show every day, 365 days and leap year. And every day I will be able to pull something up that has something to do with the interwovenness of what this country is, the fabric is, race. Every day. So, times are changing. Things are changing. Some people want to stay the same way, right? It can't stay that way. You know what I'm saying? You can't have the disadvantage and the handicap points and the privilege. You can't. I mean, you got all that. And yet, you still got some people in that back part still competing with you. And look at all the disadvantages, or look at all the advantages you got to have to keep yourself at a distance. So what does that say really about you? What does that really say? You got to have the institutions, and you got to slant the game. I got to incarcerate. I got to kill you off. I got to make sure you got bad health. I got to do all this stuff. Why? What is it about you? Damn, I would think that somebody like that, I was like, damn, you got to be the weakest motherfucker on the planet. That you got to do all that shit? Is that necessary? It must be necessary, because then we know who we are, even though you do that. See, again, somebody got to do all that. You know what I'm saying? It's like playing sports. Motherfucker triple teaming you. Shit, you a bad motherfucker. Huh? If motherfucker triple teaming you on the court, shit, even if they double teaming you, you respect it. But you don't understand that yet. Respect you so much that I never could go to sleep, because one day if I blink and wake up, you're gonna be better than me. Huh? Working always to keep it an advantage says that you lack thereof, or what you claim that you supposed to be supremacy to. That's just what it is. Take it or leave it alone. All right. So again, this some of the things you got to do. Here you go. Check it out. Be right back.
Well, some people are claiming police are racially profiling after the Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt released the annual vehicle stops report for 2018.
This report is raw data collected on all traffic stops made in the state for the year. Color 10's Madison Heaver has a breakdown tonight of what the report has to reveal.
David, Heather, the report includes raw data from stops police made in 2018, and it's broken down by race. When you look at the total population, a higher percentage of black drivers were stopped compared to white drivers, meaning a large number of black drivers were stopped when you examine the low number of African Americans in the state as a whole. Many claim the report shows racial profiling by law enforcement, citing the disparity numbers of people of color compared to people who are white. We spoke with Lawrence County Sheriff, who says the report exists to bridge together the gap between law enforcement and people of color.
A lot of times there are reasons for that. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are probably those in there that don't need to be in this profession, just like in any other profession, but the vast majority of them, this is just something that is being done, again, to show that we are not racially profiling.
The Springfield NAACP says the numbers from the report have launched leadership to start working with law enforcement to find solutions.
All right.
Caught in between there, right? All right, so again, bring out the data. Data says in 2018 that seems like police is pulling over more black people, writing more tickets on black folks than white folks. You would think that in a country that, again, statistically from census and the disproportionate number of, let's say, 13% of black people, they always got to set 13% versus this majority, big, monstrous amount of people. How is it we get more tickets than anybody else? And then they say, no, sure there's a few bad apples there, man. But statistically, the numbers will say they seem to be targeting only these people. Russ, shut up! That one, I had to get on that board now. All right, so anyway. So, you seem to be getting all this attention when you drive your car. Sometimes, again, some of the things due to the sickness that we got, some of us got real nice cars. We don't live in the greatest of places, but we got nice cars. So you driving out here, your car shined up. Black people like to keep their stuff shiny and clean. Driving, and every time somebody see, they angry because they seeing you driving. Now, again, it's your job, and your job is to, again, maintain and, uphold the law. But sometimes that thing don't be there. And sometimes, again, as I said before, people hide behind their jobs to do dirty work. The bias aspect of the individual hiding behind the job. So statistically, isn't that what that's probably showing a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Do people break the law? Yes. Are there moving violations and stuff? Yes. But then how statistically can this smaller group, who now should be the third group, seem to be getting more tickets than anybody else? Just a coincidence, right? It's just a coincidence. No, there's no bias erasing that. It's just a figure of your imagination. Why you keep thinking that? It's you guys can't drive. You break the law all the time. Can't read, that's why. Okay, you got it. We ain't gonna argue with that. Moving on. Now, again, as I'm on the theme of what I'm saying, now check this out. Now, it's a good thing to do this, right? I can understand the good part, but again, you have to look at this. Now, let y'all see it first before I talk about it. Let me do this. And I did a break already. I'll do this, and then come on, let's do this and come on back. All right, check it out. Check this out.
Under a bill recently passed by Alabama lawmakers, a court would order chemical castration for someone convicted of a sex crime against a child under 13. According to the legislation, the Department of Public Health would give medication that reduces or blocks the production of testosterone or hormones.
I argued and debated this particular bill because I felt that it was far-reaching to the extreme.
The bill says the treatment would start at least a month before the sex offender is released from prison and continue until a court decides it's not necessary. Republican Representative Alan Treadaway, who also serves as Birmingham's assistant police chief, voted for the bill. He told us, any action that we can take against a child molester that would prevent them from ever committing this type of crime again, I support, including chemical castration. I think that this bill is one of those steps to ensure public safety.
You have to deal with the mind of a predator. You don't worry about the physical body parts. You have to deal with what makes them do what they do when they do it.
The bill says the parolee would pay for the medication and face a felony for intentionally stopping the treatment. In Birmingham, Erin Kelly, WVTM 13.
Other states, including California, Louisiana, and Georgia, have similar legislation.
Testing. All right, y'all. Sorry about for the delay. Now again, here it is. We see, and again, I had to take away because originally I was supposed to have the sound bite from when I originally did it, but since I got rid of that video, so I'm just gonna tell it from this point. All right. So what happened is they want to now chemically induce you if you should get caught. You know, again, we don't condone the fact that somebody who would be, child molester somebody, and again, they said under 13, right? So you have to say 13, so 12 and under is considered rape, but if 13 can be consensual, but we're not seeing in certain states where, high schoolers being in high school dating, and then they say, well, she was a 16, this person was 17, 18, and they was don't have consents, and so they consider it rape, right? So again, I say, as I always talk about in this land, there's always the fact that you have the fact that people in this land and the laws and legislations will always make it into the fact that it's like contradictory. Again, you could be 16, get a permit, be able to drive a vehicle. 18 can buy cigarettes, can go, shoot somebody in a war. You can be 21, you can buy liquor, but you're not quite have enough economic stability that you can be financially responsible when you apply for college. You got to be 26, so you're still at 21 to 25, still 26. Use your parents' income so that you can get file for some kind of grant, right? So what I'm saying here about this here, what some people have an issue with the fact is that the way that we just seen the anniversary of the 5, right? The Central Park 5, how that's been 30 years ago, back in April 1989. Again, the 5 individuals who, again, those who seen when they see us and see how, they were coerced, tricked into it, no evidence that substantiated any of the conviction that they end up doing. And again, we don't condone the fact that somebody who's doing certain things, but again, to say chemically castrate them and to give it to them a month before, it makes it seem, okay, well, they're about to get out, so we're going to make sure. But again, just the way the justice system has shown that so many people have been exonerated or found out later on that they're not guilty, that they did not do the crime, but then once you done administer the chemically induced castration, is it reversible, right? And if it's not reversible, then look at the fact that what done happened, that you could get somebody who was innocently had been accused. And matter of fact, we done had several people that I talked about prior, right? The people who've been in there, 30, 40 years, exonerated of crimes that they did not do. So that would be the issue that many people who will understand and look at this will say this, right? They will say, no, there's a possibility you could be wrongfully. So chemically induced could be, once it can be convicted and everything has substantiated evidence lined up, those unequivocally, without a doubt, it is, then maybe people will be given a stamp approval. But until then, with all this inaccuracy and convictions, and again, I told you, as the system has a merit system, police, lawyers, judges, and running for office is merited on convictions and incarcerations and lockup. Then again, when it's a dry season and you try to merit up, because again, you want to move up, because more move up means better pay, means more shit, and so forth. So that's why a lot of us become cannon fodder for a lot of shit, that for people to get up their ranks. And then later on, like we're going to see later, as people are now trying to get this woman that had been the prosecutor for the Central Park 5, and now thing is going back and people want to go back and now prosecute her for the wrongful conviction that she put and forced on them, right? So, but if we was to look at through the whole system, we would see that there's many people who've been moved up based on the simple fact that, they may have wrongfully convicted somebody or wrongfully arrested somebody, but it did not stop their promotion, that they used some of these things that they did to get that. Matter of fact, when you look at the Rodney King situation was based on the simple fact that those individuals who end up arresting him that night later on end up becoming moved up, because we heard this about with the Christopher Dorner. Remember Christopher Dorner, who was a cop that decided to go after them because they were wrongfully doing stuff to a lot of people who were of color. And, he had his incidents too, as well as being racially. And so he the one that brought that. I said about those people who had been certain positions at the time as officers, who had been moved up in ranks to captains and so forth after the Rodney King situation. So again, merit system, people move up based on it. So a lot of times it's not about whether the evidence fit, it's about the agenda that the people who need to move up and elevate. So we have to be mindful that when we see something like that, and who will be this target, who will be the people that they're going to target the most. Yes, it can be under anybody, but primarily who gets locked up more. And lately, let's look at the Cuba Gooding Jr. story. Now let's say Cuba Jr. gets convicted of this, right? Sexual predator, right? So I don't know if is it sexual predator or is it just rapist, or just does it fall in the category of sexual predator? And do you get chemically induced? So could he fall under that as well? So that's to be continued. And again, this is just the repeat show of what I had originally wanted to do from that day. And I didn't want to show the last part with the Chicago, because again, they was going to cut it. So again, I want to thank everybody who did come back. And again, I'm going to continue to do what I do. Now, those who are avid watchers of the show, I would like for you who are subscribers to the show, send me a message so that I can give you information on how maybe you might find me on other people's show that I talk, that you can come and hear me. But you have to send me so that I can send it to you to let you know, right? So with that being said, this is Black Minds News, again, the most hated show on the black corner of the internet. Because why? We tell it like a TI is over here, and I'm going to give it to you every time. So to the next show, peace, love, and hair grease and all that. And that's how we're going to get up and end this show, like we always do, right? So let's get it. And let me do this first. And then the little one in the background got the door open. Got to watch him these days, right? So check it out. Peace, love, y'all. To the next show.
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Luther and I and everyone in this arena tonight are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, and it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saved 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin.
They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 months before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. There were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to fucking You can't make me do anything like my friend. Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga, and if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
Well, I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? It knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, Brother Greg, you coming by today? And I said, Malcolm, I love you. And I said, I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there. He said, what do you mean, Brother Greg? I said, well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East. And I said, but I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get 2 of us for the price of 1. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.